Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our morning devotion for Oceania. Today is the 40th day of our 44th 40-day condition. It is Thursday, the 5th of February, year 2026, and the 18th of December of the 13th year of Cheonil-guk. So let us offer our bow to Heavenly Parents and True Parents. Chonjiashin Chompomonem Kyombe. Pado. Let us read the pledge this morning, pledge number 5.
하전맨세 5. 천일급 주인 우리 가족은 참 사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 전산세계와 대산적 지산세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 5. Our family, the owner of Cheonil-guk, pledges to strive every day to advance the unification of the spirit world and the physical world as subject and object partners by centering on true love.
Let us read together the opening prayer, which is entitled, Please allow our minds to long for our original home. True Father gave in 1967. We did not know that a historical end was calling to us from afar, and we did not know that you had set us up high and were urging us along the path we have to go. Father, each time we went in ignorance onto the side path, you guided us back to the path ahead. We feel once again how very much you have toiled, guiding us until this point at the end of history today. Oh, Father, where do our minds want to dwell, and where do our bodies want to dwell? Since we have come to understand that the place where our minds and bodies should dwell is at the center of your original deep love, Father, please encourage your children who have not been able to arrive at that point. Without your love, Father, we cannot rest, and without your love, we cannot feel your heart. Therefore, please let the waves of your love flow down into our lacking minds and bring about in us the blessing of rebirth. We must long for that position until our eyes grow cold, and we must yearn for that position until our minds ache with the yearning. And furthermore, in order to find that position, we will have to go through miserable struggles. And even if we are destroyed and collapse 1,000, 10,000 times and experience the anguish of the vanquished, we know that it is our duty that we must rise up again and go forward fighting. Therefore, our Father, please personally direct our minds and bodies, and please do not allow us to become the vanquished in this battle. We have humbly prayed all these things in the name of the true parents. Amen. So let's hear a praise song.
우주를 넘어 들리는 소리가 나의 마음을 두드리며 울리네. 가진 것 모두 다 바치시는 부모님의 사랑을 알게 되었지. 목숨 걸고 우리를 사랑하시기에 부모님을 넘을 수가 없네. 그 사랑을 나도 느꼈기에 부모님을 알고 더 닮아가지네.
Mother, the children who love you are gathered here. The heavenly warriors who will protect you are gathered in this place.
반드시 목숨 걸고 어머님을 지켜드리겠습니다.
We will protect you with our lives.
차렷 견례 바로
All right. Good morning once again, everyone. This morning we have Rev Takaaki Ito from the Marshall Islands. He's going to give the morning talk this morning. So welcome, Takaaki.
Morning, everyone. Let me
Good morning.
share my screen.
Yes, we can see that nicely.
Okay. All right. Sorry for the small letters. Today I'm going to share the words of True Father on the total completion of the ideal, which is given on February 28, 1982, in Belvedere in New York. We know that people in Unification Church have ideals, but what about everyone else in the world? They too have ideals. Americans, Germans, and peoples of all nations have ideals. People in the past had ideals, as well as people in the present. People in the future too will have ideals. What about the animal kingdom? Can they appreciate such things as morality and justice? No, animals have only their immediate desires corresponding to their environment and circumstances. Instinct is the guiding force of the animal world, like the mole who knows only how to dig holes and eat insects. Moles live underground and have very small eyes. They never even think about the possibility of having larger ones and living in the light so they could enjoy the world more. Humans, however, have the ability to imagine and do such things as swim underwater and fly through the sky, even though we were all born on the land. People have been able to invent such things as the automobile and airplane in order to travel faster than our natural legs can carry us. Without exception, people want to enjoy the best of experiences and the best of life. What do we mean by best? In terms of our bodies, best simply means normal and functioning properly. Therefore, the ideal cannot be anything less than the best. In fact, in order to achieve an ideal, you often have to go beyond your capacities. For instance, a short person who wants to see something far away will have to stretch himself or boost himself up in order to do so. Today is a time of confusion. People have different opinions about what is right. Some try to follow a purely sensual way of self-fulfillment, while others don't know what path to take in their lives. Sadly enough, there is a widespread attitude among American young people that other people and traditions have no value. Students disregard the position of their teachers and see no reason to respect them or even listen to them. This basic attitude disregards others and seeks only self gratification for the present moment. Satan is the one who is promoting such attitudes, and those who live self centeredly find their lives more and more blocked and frustrated. However, God is always encouraging actions that enable people to move freely in the universe. People of goodness and righteousness are always happy for their actions to stand out, while those who do shady things literally try to hide themselves in the shadows. Satan's only criterion for goodness is his own benefit, while God's criterion is the benefit of all. This strong line of division between the realms of evil and goodness means that there is much conflict between them. If a person from one side tries to enter into the domain of the other, he will not be comfortable and will be pushed to conform to the standards of that realm. We can see in this world how the communist and democratic systems relate to one another. Neither approves of the other, and they cannot just live peacefully, side by side. There is always hostility between them. People are very complex beings, having dimensions of both mind and body. No one can see his own mind or even say precisely where it is located within him. Yet no one will deny that he has a mind. Your mind and your body have different dimensions and substances, but they form the components of yourself. The individual exists at the point of intersection between the mind and the body. On a graph, we can draw a horizontal line to represent the body and a vertical line intersecting it, representing the mind. Depending upon the angle at which the mind line intersects the body line, the shape of the individual is determined. The horizontal line represents the body and vertical line intersecting. The ideal shape representing an individual is that of a perfect circle drawn around the two lines intersecting at right angles. However, some minds could be represented as intersecting at a 45-degree angle. So the circle we could draw would be far from perfect. Therefore, the proper location for the mind is that 90-degree angle or of intersection with the body. It produces perfect balance and harmony, as well as a circular shape. Communism asserts that the mind and spirit of man are simply byproducts of the action of his body. That is like representing the two lines of mind and body running parallel to each other. If you try to encircle such lines, the result will be a long, narrow shape far from a perfect circle. Such a distorted shape typifies the communistic way of thinking. It is far from harmonious and balanced. The universe seeks for circular motion and circular shape in everything. The cells of the human body are basically circular in shape. The motion of the planets in the solar system is basically circular, and even the shape of the universe itself is said to be rounded. On a graph, there can be no circular shape without the balanced intersection of two equal lines. Thus, a circular shape must exist on the basis of a central point. How does all this relate to the life of an individual? When a baby is born, he is not aware that he has something called a mind and a body. As his mind develops, it will either grow in the ideal vertical direction or it will be misdirected. If all aspects of that person are to be balanced, his mind's path of growth must be perfectly vertical. In order for a child to grow along the perfect vertical path, he must depend upon the guidance and direction of his parents. His body will automatically achieve its perfection and maturity within 20 years or so, but his mind is capable of being deflected from its proper path. A child needs the direction of both his father and his mother in order to become a completed, mature individual. However, it is very common these days in American society that people marry, have children, divorce, and then remarry. Sometimes they do this several times. There are many homes where children are being raised by step-parents, but it is not easy or even natural for a child to accept the discipline he received from his step-parent. Many people carry resentment towards throughout their lives, or the way they were treated by their step-parents while they were growing up. No one can deny that American families are in a generally sad situation. So those who praise American society today must also praise the mixed-up family life that so many children experience. It is normal and necessary for a loving father and mother to discipline their child. They have the responsibility to direct his vertical growth. So if they see him going off the track, they must set him straight. Most children will complain against their parents' discipline, but without it, they will have no way of achieving a healthy vertical line of growth. There may be many answers to the question of why parents should guide and discipline their children, but this is the simplest one. Parents are responsible for their child successfully achieving his proper connection between mind and body. Even the worst criminals sense this and will strive to make their children good, happy people. It is human nature to seek the ideal for our children. If the fall of man had never happened, mankind would never have needed a Messiah or true parents. All natural parents would have been perfected parents of perfect love. Unfortunately, all natural parents have been born of the sinful lineage of fallen Adam and Eve, so mankind is full of sin. No one has known true love. We cannot blame parents for being unable to give their children perfect love. Since no one has received it, the true parents must accomplish what all earthly parents have been unable to do. That is to guide children along the proper vertical path of growth. The very root and beginning point of evil was the misdirected desire to possess something for oneself. Eve and her love belonged to God, Adam, and the entire universe. But the archangel wanted Eve's love for his own gratification and comfort. Because a fall took place through that desire to possess for oneself, this is the very point where restoration must begin. People must learn to change the selfish desire for possession and turn it toward the proper direction. Therefore, the I viewpoint, which centers all desire upon oneself, is each person's arch enemy. Within you is the very source of evil. The struggles you face begin at the I viewpoint, which Satan manipulates. How can one eliminate that selfish I? Only by learning to love God and the world more than anything. You must be able to say that all you want to possess or be possessed by is the love of God. When you go out fundraising, you are receiving the best, most practical way of training in redirecting your sense of possession. You are giving everything you earn each day to be used for God and His purposes. You don't even keep a penny for yourself. Fundraising under persecution trains you even more quickly. From this viewpoint, is the suffering you endure basically good or bad? Is it true that true parents are absolutely necessary because of the fall of man? Since people need to be completely re-educated, the ideal would be to begin life all over again in the mother's womb. Christianity has traditionally taught the importance of being born again. But how is this accomplished? For birth as well as rebirth, a person must have both a mother and a father. Those parents must be totally united, supporting each other and giving perfected love to the child. There has always been love in the world, but since the fall of man, it has never been totally centered on God. The love of true parents must come, therefore, a love which is pure and stems from God alone. The purpose of the true parents is to re-educate all people to become sons and daughters of God who are worthy of standing before Him without shame. A true parent would never come to America or any other country and exploit it for his own sake. He would only want to sacrifice himself for the people there. The sons and daughters of God must rise above distinctions of nationality and culture and learn to love the entire world, since God loves the entire world. In the Unification Church, we cannot condemn or accuse anyone for his own or his racist transgressions. When a white person in the Unification Church feels true repentance for the exploitative actions of the white race, he will want to give himself for the sake of people in Africa and South America. The parents of such a person might not understand why he would want to go to Africa, and they might try to stop him. They would shout no very loudly, but he would shout yes even louder and continue on his path. The more he shouts yes to those who oppose him, the sound of no will become weaker and weaker because his confidence will overwhelm them. Ultimately, the parents of such a righteous person will surrender to his determination, especially when they realize what a great thing he has been doing. When 36 couples were blessed in Korea in 1960, their parents were outraged that a stranger had chosen their children's mate without consulting them at all. This was something totally alien to the morality and culture of Korea, and the parents tried in every conceivable way to stop the wedding. Now, however, without one exception, all those parents have come to express their gratitude to me because they see that their son and daughter-in-law are the best ones possible. 20 years ago, they had all kinds of protests against their children's mates. They thought they weren't educated enough or had nothing to offer. Was I right or wrong to do what I did? It was the right thing to do, but the world suddenly didn't agree with me at that time. After 20 long years of experience, those parents learned that I was right. Have I been doing the right thing to send American young people out to do fundraising? Through fundraising raising experiences, you can liquidate the root of the original sin, the desire of possession centered upon oneself. Once you understand that, you can feel great joy and commitment in your work. Suddenly, you must ask yourself why you are doing what you do when you are persecuted. You must think sometimes, if I am doing a good thing, why are people treating me so badly? But once you are able to re-examine your reasons and continue, you discover how close you are to the heart of God and how meaningful your work really is. Some people have continued this way for years. They know they are restoring the world by dedicating their energy and the material offerings they can raise. What a noble and good thing it is for a person to work for those reasons. Those people who contribute to our fundraisers are making a connection for themselves with God's providence. Later, they will be able to dedicate their lives totally to God because a fundraiser gave them the chance to start building a bridge back to God. This is the reason why the activity of fundraising is far from significant than simply the dollars and cents you receive. Because of the dedicated activity of our members, the Unification Church has come to the point where it is today in the world. The opposition against our movement is gradually changing, and ultimately, we will be able to see the world turn back to heaven's side. American members cannot complain about having to do fundraising. The fact is that the other countries must help support our movement's expenses in this country. It is clear that your ultimate purpose in fundraising is far greater than the money you earn. Through your fundraising experiences, you can learn to look at things with eyes that the world and even God can share. We are talking about very basic points in divine principle. God's ideal was a four-position foundation to be established on the earth, but has that ideal ever been accomplished in the past? This is the first time in history that the possibility has existed for the ideal to be achieved. We are teaching things that are unprecedented and without parallel. Do you really feel the value of what you are learning? When nighttime has passed, daytime begins. Just so, as soon as the time of persecution against the patient church has passed, the time of the kingdom of heaven on earth will begin. Surely people everywhere could appreciate the message you are hearing today, if only they had a chance to hear it. Many Americans believe that the modern times are better than the old days, but the truth is that the old days were far purer and better. Unless the values of the past are restored to American culture, this present time will lead to nothing but destruction. We cannot just make such statements to the American people, however, and expect them to accept them. We must be able to explain clearly why what we say is true. We must do it quickly too, because the time is short. Unless we can do this, America cannot be saved. Recently, there was a premiere showing of Incheon, which was attended by many prominent people. Before the movie began, our lawyers stood up and announced, "This movie has been sponsored by Reverend Moon, and his thought is the basis of it. If anyone here is opposed to that fact, I want to ask him to leave right now." Not one person left. They all stayed and watched the movie. There have been many changes in the public opinion taking place without even realizing. Righteous Americans have joined the staff of the Washington Times, even taking a cut in salary because they felt inspired to join the new conservative movement. How much do you feel responsible for following my words? I've been speaking for several years about home church, using all kinds of analogies and explanations. But how many days during the past week did you go to your home church area? Home church has more meaning and value to your life than anything else. If you don't live up to this responsibility now, you will be judged severely later. Throughout history, religious people have made tremendous sacrifices. Billions have been martyred for their belief in God. Because of the cumulative merit of all that sacrifice, home church is now possible. In our movement, we have not yet gone beyond the four-position foundation on the family level. We have blessed families, but compared with our ultimate goal, this accomplishment is really very small. Unless we accomplish a four-position foundation in all the large levels of clan, society, nation, and world, your level of freedom in the spirit world will not be complete. At best, the ideal will dwell on the community level in the spirit world. As we expand on a horizontal level, the corresponding areas in the vertical plane also expand. At this time, there are many borders and boundaries between areas in the spirit world, much as it is here on the earth. People have been joining the Unification Church on a one-to-one basis so far, but at this rate, how can we expand to the world level? You must understand that your responsibility is to make the four-position foundation on the family level and then expand it all the way to the highest level. One very practical reason for doing home church is for the sake of your clan. Once your home church people understand God and God's will, they can welcome and educate your clan. They can be better teachers than you. This will eliminate the division of Cain and Abel within your clan. As soon as we have expanded home church all over the world, spirit world will automatically achieve the same thing. Your responsibility as Abel is to stand on the center point, guiding others and living the heavenly vertical standard yourself. When you can do that, you inherit the position of true parents. Standing on that position, you can rest assured that you're receiving God's love, Father's love, Mother's love, and the love of brothers and sisters. If someone performed a spiritual analysis of your cells, they would see that every one of your cells reflects one of those kinds of love. They would not be able to find you alone in your cells. Once you have achieved such unity and selflessness, you can confidently claim to be I. But that I is different from the I before because it is reflecting the love of God, parents, and brothers and sisters. Have you ever thought about becoming a person who carries within his very cells all the different elements of love? People automatically like such a person when they see him. When a person is centered upon himself, however, it is difficult for anyone to like him. It is especially difficult for God to be pleased with him. When you are full of the love of others, God will love everything about you, your eyes, your ears, nose, and everything that belongs to you. Your parents will love you more than you love yourself, and you will want to share everything they have with you. How wonderful this is. Whenever anyone comes to visit me, I try to show love to that person and treat him better than anyone has ever treated him in the past. This is the attitude I want to teach you. Whenever you take any position, you should take it with the most loving heart. If you become the president of some organization, to be the most loving president that group ever had. Some of you may be thinking, Father, why did you give me such a person as my fiance when you have picked someone better for me? If you think your fiance is difficult for you to love, you will become the king or queen of love if you learn to love such a person. Is it really true? Do you think God feels you should have different fiancé and will change you around? No. Each of you has an endless realm of love to connect with if you make a success out of your relationship. Certainly, God wants to fill you with everything you need. Every bridegroom should think that his bride is more precious than royalty and cherish her as his queen and vice versa. For thousands of years, the potential of the blessing has been coming toward you. How terrible it will be if you knowingly or unknowingly stopped it. Not only your ancestors, but also all the things of creation will accuse you if you prevent their blessings from materializing. Sometimes within Unification Church, a member works very hard and sets a great example for the first 3 years or so, but later his zeal diminishes and eventually he completely loses power. On the other hand, there's a member who doesn't attract much attention at first, but gradually builds up his accomplishments. What kind of a member would you want to be? Certainly, you want to go up, not down. If you are not following my direction, for example, in doing home church, are you going up or down? You may be capable of saying yes and giving pledges, but how much have you actually carried out? Maybe the American youth have not lived up to all their promises, but I feel that the African youth will be different. You must realize that I will not be staying in America forever. When the will of God directs me to another country, I will go without any lingering thoughts. If the time comes when white people fail to meet the time limit for God's dispensation, black people will rise up and become the leaders of the world. American members must realize that I am helping you so much now because you are at the center of the providence. There is no other reason. You must do everything you can so you will not miss your opportunity. Otherwise, when you go to the spirit world, you will be accused by your ancestors and all the white people there. At that time, no one will criticize Reverend Moon for not teaching you the truth. More understanding has been revealed to the people of America in my public speeches than at any other time by any other religion. The consequences of missing this opportunity will be much more serious than you think. This morning I am dressed in a suit and tie because of Sunday service. Normally, however, I prefer to wear less expensive clothing. I have trained myself to conserve water, which is so plentiful here in America, because I know how little clean water is available in other parts of the world, especially Africa. If you consistently try to look at things from God's viewpoint, these things are very basic ways of living. This is the reason why our African members don't accuse me or believe the negative rumors about me, even though they have suffered so much deprivation in their lives. Although at this time I'm living in comfortable surroundings, I never feel proud of those things. I always think I will see to it that everyone in the world has this kind of an environment. If I did not have this kind of attitude, the African people would be the first to sense it and accuse me. Each of you must live according to the true vertical standard and continuously widen your sphere of influence. You can say, let the world take care of itself. I'm satisfied as long as my family is restored. You need to be moving from the east to the west, securing both ends of the earth for the ideal. Unless the ideal can expand in all four directions, there can be no balanced central point. In the future, perhaps Western university students will want to travel to the East for their schooling and vice versa. If they really desire to learn from the different culture, they can't just have a few experiences for the purpose of reference when they go back to their native culture. Only by taking the new culture seriously and trying to learn from it can the students truly expand themselves. Perhaps it will happen naturally and many intercultural marriages will occur. From now on, blessed families will pride themselves on bringing their sons and daughters-in-law from the most remote parts of the world, because in this way, cultures of the world can be linked. In such families, the highest vertical love of God, as well as the deepest horizontal love between people can dwell. Thoughtful, conscious people everywhere could agree with this, not just Unification Church members. Many American members complain against their Korean leaders, thinking that only Western leaders are good. But Americans should be the first to reach out and learn from people of other cultures. Once America does this, the rest of the world will follow such a pattern. We cannot just form our families and become comfortable with our way of life. If your area of influence on earth is small, your freedom in the spirit world will be small as well. Do you Americans feel you don't want to be pushed? Do you want to pass your responsibility to African or South American people? In Korea today, people from all professions have come to respect me, while in America, I'm still treated as an outcast. Since I fought a legal battle in the Orient, I feel it is right to face a similar battle here in the West. I will never be exhausted, even though every kind of person may oppose me. I must carry out what is necessary. In this room, there are many blonde, light-skinned people, but is that the only coloring that is valuable for mankind? Certainly not. Within the body of a single individual, there are all different colors and materials. The different species of geese, such as Canadian and Alaskan, don't fight with each other about their color or nationality. If a goose laid an egg that happened to be colored, would she refuse to hatch it? Geese are not aware of their colors. However, the person who is conscious of his own or other people's coloring is always running into barriers and obstacles in his life. Resentment continues to grow against Americans in many parts of the world. The slogan, Yankee Go Home, is very common in certain parts of South America. Soon, however, people in Africa and South America will begin shouting, Mooney, come here. You may not enjoy the persecution you are receiving at this time or being a Mooney, but you must recognize your true value. Someday you will be valued and sought after by the whole world. I have traveled from east to west. From here, I will go south to Latin America and Africa. After that, I will go to north to Russia. The earth is divided into north and south poles, but human civilization is divided between east and west. North-south pole of the earth is the horizontal line, and the east-west axis is the vertical line. When human civilization achieves vertical unity and harmony between east and west, heaven on earth will be achieved. The strongest possible effort to prevent this vertical unity from occurring is the current court trial. So once we break through this, there will be nothing that can stop the progress of heaven. Americans have been opposed to Rev Moon without actually knowing anything about Rev Moon. Soon, however, the time will come when Americans will quickly change their minds. Do you want to go from the West Pole to the East Pole and vice versa? The person who refuses to budge from his own position will become stagnant and will eventually decline. The individual level of influence of the Messiah must be widened to all the higher levels, to the clan, nation, and the world. If you cannot literally be the Messiah on the highest levels, at least you can connect yourself with the real Messiah and follow him. There is an agreement between God and Satan that if Rev Moon is able to fulfill the world level of Messiah, Satan will accept it. Otherwise, Satan will say it is not enough. The world level of opposition against our movement came in 1976. At that time, everybody was actively opposing Rev Moon. Why? Because we have moved to the world level. Once that level of worldwide opposition is overcome, all the world will be able to accept the truth about us. Any conscious seeking person who hears the teaching of the Unification Church has to admit the greatness of its ideology. Each of you recognizes this, but sometimes you say, I wish it weren't so difficult. If it were easier, I'm sure I would be more motivated. However, if the element of real hardship were eliminated, there could be no true restoration accomplished. This normal course for a champion is to go through many hardships. If you wanted to become the world champion boxer, would you expect to do this without fighting? Certainly, you couldn't win if you stepped in the ring and with the first blow from your opponent, you ran out. The normal course for a champion boxer is to get beaten, to bleed, and to have many scars. But when things look the worst for him, he is able to stand up and knock out his opponent. This is the way the champion must go. Since there is so much difficulty in Unification Church, you can know that there is a real challenge. At the time of difficulty, serious people stay and weak, uncommitted people fall away. Once you begin this endeavor, we keep running all the way to the goal. No matter what happens, you are assured of being true winner and champion. Are there any among you who are hungry for the central position and would like to take over my job? Even though I am willing to give it away, no one is willing or able to take over my position. Actually, in the world of love, there is no replacement possible. Do you think God was elected by a popular vote? What about the Messiah or the true parents? Certain positions were created long before any political processes were conceived. Likewise, you cannot choose your parents and brothers and sisters. Some things in human society cannot be changed. Through the election process, it is possible that a communist could be elected president of this country. If that ever happened, Satan would win tremendous influence over the earth. God has been fighting Satan's influence throughout history, and human history is now at the culmination point. The job of the Messiah is to achieve and protect the vertical position of love. Military power will never stop the spread of communism. The battle must be won within communities and families. Only through home church can you defeat the influence of communism. If you have a good foundation in your area, you will know immediately if anyone comes into your community trying to preach communism. You will be able to prevent such unwholesome influences from invading your area. New York is a pivotal position for the world. If it turns toward goodness, the world will follow. If it turns toward evil, so will the whole world. We began devoting our movement energies and resources to New York. 10 years ago, when many people were deserting the city and giving up on it, we went against the tide at the time. Also, you all have gone very much against the fashion of young people by cutting your hair and looking clean cut. While many young people freely kiss and express their love in public, Unification Church fiancés don't even hold hands with each other. I have been pushing you continuously to humble and deny yourself in order to reverse the ways of the secular world. In a secular society, people often live together for a while before they become husband and wife. In Unification Church, however, we get married and wait for time before we live as husband and wife. By doing this way, you are learning to go beyond your physical appetites in order to achieve a greater goal. Although we continue to deny ourselves and appear to be the lowest in this world, we actually becoming greater and greater people. Those who continually indulge their appetites will discover that they have not gone up but down in value. Likewise, those without strength and dedication cannot persevere in our movement. When I speak to you, my desire is to speak the words you can learn from the most. Often people comment that Unification Church members are good at speaking. Probably this is because you have listened to so many sermons. You are capable of speaking with renowned scholars and heads of state with confidence because you know that the knowledge you have gained from your understanding of divine principle is superior. Some of you are dozing during this sermon. Some of you may be thinking of other things while you listen, but when you have to defend your beliefs, you become very animated and eloquent. Certainly, perfected Adam would be able to walk freely into the heavenly palace where God resides without making an appointment. Wouldn't you like to be able to do that? You have a close relationship with someone. Appointments are not necessary to see each other. The servant of someone will not enjoy such a close relationship with him, while his children will be able to move freely within the house and see him whenever they desire. Since you are the children of God, should you need permission in order to visit places within this His created world? The boundaries and barriers we experience in the world are a result of the fall. Everyone desires the kind of world which is open to everyone, free of boundaries. What if it were possible to buy a pass, enabling you to travel freely anywhere in the world and the spirit world? Wouldn't you be willing to give everything you have and more to obtain such freedom? Do you think God has the ability to issue you a pass that will be honored everywhere in His creation? Satan has certain claims and can make certain demands. He will tell God, you cannot just give fallen men such permission, they must earn it. If another man leads them in making the right direct conditions, I will accept it. But you, God, cannot do it for them. The indemnity condition for mankind to enjoy free passage throughout God's creation is home church. Therefore, the family of perfected Adam through parents' family is necessary as a base for restoration. Through the true parents, all of mankind can inherit the right to travel freely, since whatever the parents own, the children will inherit. Satan knows this law better than anybody else. Therefore, you are doing home church not because each of you is highly capable, but because you are the children of the true parents. When you go to home church, you are telling the people the good news that they can be proud of the true parents, proud of the heavenly family, and proud to be related to God. This way you inherit the position and heart of true parents and free yourself from any accusation of Satan. Only you can do it. God cannot do it for you. This is why I push you out to home church. I want you to get a free pass, the heavenly ID card, which will allow you for total freedom. Since I have passed on to you this inheritance, you must share it with your home church members. Otherwise, it will go nowhere. Any way you look at it, home church is a necessity. All the power of Satan and his forces has come against me in my life. Just as in the history of Job in the Bible, Satan told God, it was only because you blessed him that he was able to achieve anything. I demand to test him by taking everything away from him. Then I will see if he is so strong. Satan made that demand several times that God had to push me into many deep suffering situations. You too must go through similar trials, but the opposition you encounter is only a small portion of what I have experienced. You will think that God is not anywhere near you, and you will feel that He cannot help you at all. But as soon as you persevere and go beyond that situation, God can pour out blessings abundantly upon you. Whenever you go into the situation, remember that God has made preparations for you. You are not entering haphazardly, but since God has done all the preparation, He has to let you take over. Then it is up to you to tackle the situation and make it a success. This is exactly the way I have gone through my 60 years of life and the 6 levels of indemnity, which correspond to the 6,000 biblical years of human history. True parents have gone beyond all satanic blame and have received the ID card of total freedom. Without this inheritance, how could you be qualified to become a Messiah on any level? In order to receive your ID card, parents have gone beyond all satanic blame and have received the ID card for total freedom. Without inheritance, how could you be qualified to become a Messiah on any level? In order to receive your ID card, the archangel must sign it as well as perfected Adam. Once you receive those signatures, you can travel freely either in Adam's world or the world of the angels, including Satan's realm, receive no accusation. I think it is time, so we can stop here. Thank you very much.
And stop share, Takaaki. That'd be good. Wow, that was a marathon in one sense, but it had so much content there, touching so many areas. Thank you so much for finding that speech for us, Takaaki, and reading it for us with such clarity. Yeah. Yeah, there were so many little points to pick up on, really. Father's such an unusual religious teacher. This the topics, the areas he covers is just so vast. Yeah, there were so many things really the father said in that speech. It speaks for itself. If anyone would like to say something, please put up your hand. Yeah. Anyway, I think there was such a lot in there for all of us to digest and to really remind ourselves I guess even just a one line, like we have to go through Job's course, sometimes everything needs to be taken away from us, and we should not complain, because through that, we can grow our understanding, grow our heart, and overcome, to be a person of no complaint. We know from the beginning, Lucifer complained about having to serve Adam and God's family. And so we need to go that course in so many areas. All right, everyone, we are come to the end of our time this morning. Once again, thank you so much, Rev Takaaki. Oops, Sister Na. Yes.
Yes, I interestingly, the topic of home church came up. It's something that I've been reading and thinking about. I really think home church is important now as well, when like it was in the 80s. And I think because, True Mother is referring to that as well, and Reverend Dorr, in like we need to build or establish our tribal Messiah work, and that can only come through, well, I think through home church. Anyway, I think that it's important. I was just thinking, like the missionaries that come year after year, if they had, and for us too, but it's just something I'm thinking about missionaries, if they had a home church area, so when they go, the guests have built relationship with are in the area, and when the new one comes, they revisit, or the relationship continues. I think we really I've been praying and thinking about, home church practically getting out there, and within my area. I think it is important. I think it's natural in the islands. The whole island is like your home church. So you have to build a relationship with everybody. But it's of course different in our Western country. But Father saw the benefit or the importance of that even in America and in the Western countries. Thank you.
No, that's right. There's nothing like going to people's homes. It's real grassroots restoration. You see families, you see their kids, their difficulties. And ultimately, that's where we're all going. Everyone must be doing something. We are just announcing to the world and teaching, finding leaders and people who can help us. But eventually, every place will be a home church area, and people will visit one another and help one another. Thank you, Sister Na, for your comments. All right, let's go to our 7 minutes of prayer. All right, everyone. Thank you once again, Rev Takaaki, for that very nice speech. Yesterday there was a graduation in Chompeong, so some of the leaders and others will be coming back to their nations. We saw our sister give amazing testimony from Australia, the dentist sister, and also Reverend Yutaki Yamada given the drum and the stick. So anyway, lots of news will come to us and new spirit. And I guess all of you are looking how much it costs to go to Korea for your 40-day workshop. So I will pray for you. And I might join you. All right. Have a nice day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Hi, Geoffrey.
We'll be joining you, Jeffrey.
Hey, Ju. All right. Thank you so much.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.
Recording